In a distant corner of the Milky Way, a vibrant blue planet called Earth spun peacefully on its axis. It was home to a remarkable species known as humans. Though they were not the strongest or the fastest creatures in the universe, humans possessed an unparalleled gift: their emotional intelligence and creativity. For centuries, humans had been developing and refining their skills, driven by an insatiable curiosity and a desire to understand the world around them. They built towering cities, created breathtaking works of art, and made groundbreaking discoveries in science and technology. However, like many other species, humans also had a history of conflict and warfare. One recent conflict, in particular, had caught the attention of the galactic community. It was a war that had erupted between two powerful nations on Earth, and it had showcased some of the most unique and innovative battle tactics ever seen. The humans had employed a range of unconventional weapons and strategies, from advanced stealth technology to psychological warfare. As the war raged on, humans began to wonder about the possibility of life on other planets. They had long gazed up at the stars, dreaming of what mysteries and wonders might lie beyond their own world. Some even dared to imagine that they might not be alone in the universe, and that someday they might encounter other intelligent species. Little did they know that far beyond the confines of their solar system, a powerful organization known as the Galactic Council had been observing them for years. The council was made up of representatives from some of the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy, and they had taken a keen interest in the activities of the young human race. In a vast, shimmering hall on a distant planet, the members of the Galactic Council gathered for their regular meeting. They sat around a large, circular table, each of them a unique and impressive specimen of their respective species. There were tall, slender beings with skin that shimmered like starlight, and stout, muscular creatures with eyes that glowed like molten lava. As the meeting began, the topic of discussion quickly turned to the recent conflict on Earth. The council members had been monitoring the situation closely, and many of them had been intrigued by the unusual tactics employed by the humans. However, others saw the conflict as nothing more than a primitive display of aggression and ignorance. "Can you believe the weapons they're using?" scoffed one council member, a spindly creature with a long, pointed snout. "Projectile weapons and chemical explosives. How barbaric." Others around the table nodded in agreement, their expressions ranging from amusement to disgust. They had seen countless wars and conflicts throughout the galaxy, and to them, the humans' methods seemed laughably crude and unsophisticated. "And their tactics," chimed in another member, a hulking reptilian creature with scales that shimmered like polished brass, charging headlong into battle, with no regard for their own safety. "It's a wonder they haven't wiped themselves out already." The council members chuckled and shook their heads, marveling at the foolishness of the human race. To them, the humans were nothing more than a curiosity, a primitive species stumbling its way through the early stages of development. But not all of the council members were so quick to dismiss the humans. One of them, a tall, elegant being with shimmering silver skin and piercing blue eyes, had been studying the conflict with a growing sense of unease. She had seen something in the humans' tactics that the others had missed, a spark of ingenuity and adaptability that hinted at a deeper potential. As the meeting wore on, and the other members continued to mock and deride the humans, the silver-skinned council member sat in silence, lost in thought. She couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to these curious creatures than met the eye, and she resolved to keep a closer watch on their activities in the coming days and weeks. Little did any of them know, however, just how significant a role the humans would come to play in the grand tapestry of the galaxy. For even as the Galactic Council laughed and dismissed them, the humans were already taking their first tentative steps towards a destiny that would shake the very foundations of the universe itself. And so, as the meeting drew to a close and the council members went their separate ways, the stage was set for a story that would echo through the ages, a story of courage, determination, and the unbreakable spirit of a species that refused to be underestimated. The humans were coming, and the galaxy would never be the same again. As the Galactic Council meeting continued, the focus remained on the peculiar humans and their unconventional battle tactics. The council members, hailing from various advanced civilizations across the galaxy, found themselves intrigued by the recent developments on Earth. The council chamber buzzed with chatter as holographic displays showcased scenes from the ongoing conflict on the blue planet. Many members couldn't help but chuckle at the seemingly primitive weapons and strategies employed by the humans. Their amusement, however, was tinged with a sense of superiority and condescension. "Look at them," scoffed Zorax, a council member with scaly green skin and piercing yellow eyes. "They're like children playing with toys. How can they hope to achieve anything significant with such crude methods?" Others nodded in agreement, their laughter echoing through the chamber. They had witnessed countless wars and conflicts throughout the galaxy, and the humans' approach appeared laughably simplistic in comparison. However, amidst the laughter and mockery, one council member remained pensive. Lyra, a tall, slender being with shimmering silver hair and eyes that sparkled like starlight, studied the holographic displays with growing curiosity. Unlike her colleagues, she sensed something different about the humans, a glimmer of potential that others had overlooked. As the meeting progressed, the council members delved deeper into the intricacies of human warfare. They analyzed the various weapons and tactics employed, dissecting each move with clinical precision. Some found the humans' reliance on brute force and physical combat to be utterly primitive, while others marveled at their resourcefulness and adaptability. "I must admit," said Zorax, his tone dripping with condescension, "their use of psychological warfare is somewhat interesting, but it's still nothing compared to the mind control techniques we've mastered." Lyra, however, saw things differently. She had been observing human behavior for centuries, fascinated by their emotional depth and creative problem-solving abilities. As she watched the scenes unfold on the holographic displays, she couldn't help but feel a growing sense of admiration for the tenacious species. "Perhaps we shouldn't be so quick to dismiss them." Lyra spoke up, her melodic voice cutting through the laughter. "Their methods may seem unconventional, but there's a certain ingenuity to their approach. They adapt and improvise in ways we haven't seen before." Her words were met with a mix of surprise and skepticism. The other council members exchanged glances, some raising their eyebrows in disbelief. They had always considered themselves to be the pinnacle of galactic civilization, and the idea of learning from a species as young and inexperienced as humans seemed preposterous. "Ingenuity," Zorax scoffed, his eyes narrowing. "You give them too much credit, Lyra. They're just fumbling their way through conflicts, relying on brute force and luck. There's nothing we can learn from them." But Lyra remained steadfast in her belief. She had seen the potential in humans, and she was determined to explore it further. As the meeting drew to a close, she made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. "I propose a closer study of human battle tactics," Lyra announced, her voice clear and confident. "Let us observe them more closely, analyze their strategies, and see if there's anything we can learn from their unique perspective." The council chamber fell silent, the other members taken aback by her suggestion. It was rare for anyone to challenge the collective wisdom of the Galactic Council, and Lyra's proposal was met with a mix of skepticism and intrigue. After a moment of deliberation, the council reached a decision. They would allow Lyra to conduct her study, but with strict conditions. She would be allowed to observe human conflicts from a distance, but under no circumstances was she to interfere or make contact with the humans themselves. Lyra accepted the terms, her heart racing with excitement at the prospect of unraveling the mysteries of human warfare. She knew that her journey would be a challenging one, filled with obstacles and uncertainties, but she was determined to see it through. As the council meeting adjourned and the members dispersed, Lyra couldn't shake the feeling that she was on the brink of something extraordinary. Little did she know that her decision to study human battle tactics would set in motion a chain of events that would forever alter the balance of power in the galaxy. And so, with a sense of purpose and determination, Lyra set out on her mission to uncover the secrets of human warfare. She had no idea what she would find, or how her discoveries would shape the future of the galaxy, but one thing was certain: the Galactic Council would never be the same again. As tensions on Earth reached a boiling point, a massive war erupted, engulfing the planet in chaos and destruction. The conflict, which had been simmering for years, finally exploded into a full-scale global confrontation. Nations clashed against each other, unleashing their most advanced weapons and battle tactics in a desperate bid for supremacy. From the depths of the oceans to the vast expanses of the sky, the war raged on, leaving no corner of the planet untouched. Cities crumbled under the onslaught of bombs and missiles, while armies clashed in fierce, bloody battles across continents. The loss of life was staggering, with countless civilians caught in the crossfire, their lives forever shattered by the horrors of war. Amidst the chaos, however, something remarkable began to emerge. The humans, faced with an unprecedented challenge, started to employ unconventional strategies and weapons that had never been seen before. They adapted to the changing battlefield with astonishing speed, developing new technologies and tactics on the fly. In one region, a small team of elite soldiers used advanced stealth technology to infiltrate enemy lines, gathering critical intelligence that turned the tide of battle. They moved like ghosts, invisible to the naked eye, and struck with surgical precision, leaving their adversaries reeling in confusion and disarray. Elsewhere, a group of engineers and scientists worked tirelessly to develop a new type of weapon, a cybernetic virus that could infect and disable enemy computer systems. The virus spread like wildfire, crippling communication networks and rendering advanced military hardware useless. The humans had found a way to fight back against seemingly insurmountable odds, using their ingenuity and creativity to level the playing field. As the war progressed, tales of human bravery and resourcefulness began to spread across the galaxy. The Galactic Council, which had been monitoring the situation from afar, found themselves increasingly intrigued by the humans' unconventional approach to warfare. They watched in fascination as the humans employed psychological warfare, using propaganda and misinformation to sow discord among enemy ranks. However, despite their growing admiration for human tactics, the Council failed to grasp the true depth of their ingenuity. They saw the war as a primitive, barbaric affair, a product of a young and foolish species that had yet to learn the ways of the galaxy. They marveled at the humans' resourcefulness, but ultimately dismissed their achievements as mere flukes, aberrations in the grand scheme of things. But Lyra, the silver-haired council member who had long been fascinated by humans, saw things differently. As she watched the war unfold through the council's advanced monitoring systems, she couldn't help but feel a growing sense of unease. There was something about the humans' tactics that felt strangely familiar, almost as if she had seen them before. Lyra pored over the data, analyzing every aspect of the human strategies and weapons. She cross-referenced their techniques with those of other species, searching for patterns and similarities. And then, in a sudden moment of clarity, it hit her. The humans' battle tactics were not just unconventional. They were groundbreaking. They represented a new way of thinking, a fresh approach to warfare that had never been seen before. Lyra realized that the humans were not just adapting to the changing battlefield. They were actively shaping it, using their creativity and ingenuity to rewrite the rules of engagement. As the war raged on, and the humans continued to defy expectations, Lyra knew that she had stumbled upon something truly extraordinary. She had to find a way to convince the Council of the humans' potential, to make them see that this was not just another primitive conflict, but a turning point in galactic history. But Lyra also knew that she would face resistance from her colleagues, many of whom were deeply entrenched in their own preconceptions and biases. They had always seen themselves as the pinnacle of galactic civilization, and the idea of learning from a species as young and inexperienced as humans was almost unthinkable. Nevertheless, Lyra was determined to see her mission through. She had to find a way to bridge the gap between the Council and the humans, to forge a new understanding between two vastly different cultures. And so, with a sense of purpose and determination, she set out to uncover the true extent of human ingenuity, knowing that the fate of the galaxy itself hung in the balance. Little did Lyra know that her journey would take her to the very heart of the human conflict, where she would witness firsthand the courage, sacrifice, and unwavering spirit that defined this remarkable species. She would come to understand that the humans were not just fighting for their own survival, but for something far greater, the right to shape their own destiny and to take their rightful place among the stars. As the war on Earth raged on, Lyra, the silver-haired council member, found herself increasingly drawn to the planet and its inhabitants. Despite the Council's strict prohibitions against direct contact with humans, she couldn't shake the feeling that there was something truly remarkable about this young, vibrant species. And so, with a sense of both trepidation and excitement, Lyra made a decision that would change the course of her life and the fate of the galaxy itself. She would embark on a secret mission to Earth, to observe the humans up close and to learn the truth about their battle tactics and technologies. Lyra knew that her journey would be fraught with danger and uncertainty. She would have to navigate the chaos of the war-torn planet, avoiding detection by both human and council forces. But she also knew that the potential rewards were too great to ignore. If she could uncover the secrets of human ingenuity, she might be able to convince the Council to reevaluate their dismissive attitude towards this remarkable species. And so, with a mixture of fear and determination, Lyra set out on her mission. She boarded a small, unassuming spacecraft and charted a course for Earth, her heart racing with anticipation of what she might find. As she approached the planet, Lyra was struck by the sheer scale of the destruction that the war had wrought. From orbit, she could see the scars of battle etched into the surface of the planet, vast swaths of scorched earth, ruined cities, and shattered landscapes. But even amidst the chaos and devastation, there were signs of life and resilience. The humans, it seemed, were not so easily defeated. Lyra landed her spacecraft in a remote mountainous region, far from the front lines of the war. She knew that she would have to proceed with caution, avoiding detection by both human and council forces. But she also knew that she had to get closer to the action if she hoped to learn the truth about human battle tactics. And so, with a sense of both fear and exhilaration, Lyra set out to explore the war-torn planet. She moved through the shadows, observing the humans from a distance, marveling at their courage and determination in the face of overwhelming odds. As she watched them fight and struggle, Lyra began to see the humans in a new light. She saw the depth of their emotions, the strength of their bonds, and the unwavering spirit that drove them forward even in the darkest of times. She saw the way they adapted to the changing battlefield, using their creativity and ingenuity to overcome seemingly insurmountable challenges. But what struck Lyra most of all was the humans' capacity for innovation and invention. She saw the way they developed new technologies and weapons on the fly, using whatever materials and resources they had at their disposal. She saw the way they harnessed the power of science and engineering to create tools and machines that could turn the tide of battle. And as she studied these technologies and tactics more closely, Lyra began to realize that there was something truly remarkable about them. They were not just unconventional, they were groundbreaking. They represented a new way of thinking about warfare, a fresh approach that could revolutionize the way the galaxy itself waged war. Lyra knew that she had to bring this knowledge back to the Council, to convince them of the humans' potential, and to forge a new understanding between their two cultures. But she also knew that she would face resistance and skepticism from her colleagues, many of whom were deeply entrenched in their own preconceptions and biases. Nevertheless, Lyra was determined to see her mission through. She spent weeks on Earth, observing and learning, gathering as much information as she could about human battle tactics and technologies. And when she finally returned to the Council, she knew that she had a powerful message to deliver. But as she stood before her colleagues, ready to share her findings, Lyra couldn't shake the feeling that her journey was only just beginning. She had seen the potential of the human species, But she also knew that there were still many challenges and obstacles to overcome. She knew that the road ahead would be long and difficult, but she was ready to face whatever lay in store. And so, with a sense of purpose and determination, Lyra prepared to deliver her report to the Council. Knowing that the fate of the galaxy itself hung in the balance, she had no idea what the future would hold, but one thing was certain: the humans had a role to play in shaping that future, and she would do whatever it took to ensure that their potential was realized. As Lyra stood before the Galactic Council, her heart raced with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. She knew that the information she had gathered during her secret mission to Earth had the potential to change everything. But she also knew that convincing her colleagues of the humans' true potential would be no easy feat. Taking a deep breath, Lyra began her presentation. She spoke of the incredible ingenuity and resourcefulness she had witnessed among the humans, of their ability to adapt and innovate in the face of even the most daunting challenges. She described the groundbreaking technologies and tactics they had developed, the way they had harnessed the power of science and creativity to reshape the very nature of warfare itself. As she spoke, Lyra could see the expressions on her colleagues' faces shift from skepticism to curiosity, and finally to a grudging sort of respect. Some of them, like Zorax, the scaly-skinned council member who had always been dismissive of the humans, looked openly astonished at what they were hearing. But not everyone was convinced. Some of the council members, deeply entrenched in their own prejudices and preconceptions, remained stubbornly skeptical. They questioned Lyra's findings, arguing that the humans' achievements were mere flukes, aberrations that could not possibly be sustained over the long term. Lyra, however, refused to back down. She knew that she had seen something truly remarkable on Earth, something that could not be ignored or dismissed. And so, with a fierce determination burning in her eyes, she pressed on, laying out a detailed case for why the humans deserved to be taken seriously as a force to be reckoned with in the galaxy. She spoke of their emotional intelligence, their capacity for empathy and understanding even in the midst of conflict. She described the way they had forged bonds of friendship and loyalty that transcended the boundaries of nation and culture, the way they had come together in times of crisis to support and protect one another. And as she spoke, something began to shift in the room. The council members who had been the most resistant to her message started to waver, their skepticism giving way to a grudging curiosity. They began to ask questions, to probe deeper into the details of what Lyra had seen and learned. But even as the tide began to turn in her favor, Lyra knew that she still had a long way to go. The Council was a deeply entrenched institution, with a long history of rigid thinking and resistance to change. Many of her colleagues would need more than just words to be convinced of the humans' worth. And so, with a sudden flash of inspiration, Lyra made a bold proposal. She suggested that the Council send a delegation to Earth to observe the humans' battle tactics and technologies firsthand. Only by seeing the evidence with their own eyes, she argued, could they truly appreciate the depth and breadth of human ingenuity. At first, the proposal was met with stunned silence. The idea of the Council intervening directly in the affairs of a primitive species was virtually unheard of, and many of Lyra's colleagues balked at the thought of putting themselves at risk in the midst of a brutal and unpredictable war. But Lyra was not deterred. She knew that the stakes were too high to back down now, and so she pressed on, arguing passionately for the importance of this mission. She spoke of the potential benefits to the galaxy as a whole, of the ways in which human innovation and creativity could be harnessed for the greater good. And slowly, gradually, the resistance began to crumble. One by one, the council members who had been the most skeptical started to come around, their curiosity and fascination overcoming their initial doubts and fears. In the end, it was decided. A small delegation of council members, led by Lyra herself, would travel to Earth to observe the humans' battle tactics and technologies firsthand. They would report back to the Council with their findings, and based on that information, a decision would be made about the future of the galaxy's relationship with this remarkable young species. As the meeting adjourned and the council members dispersed, Lyra felt a sense of both relief and anticipation washing over her. She knew that the road ahead would be long and difficult, fraught with danger and uncertainty. But she also knew that she had taken the first step towards a brighter future, one in which the humans and the council could work together as allies and partners in the great galactic dance. And so, with a sense of purpose and determination, Lyra prepared for the journey ahead. Knowing that the fate of the galaxy itself hung in the balance, she had no idea what the future would hold, but one thing was certain: the humans had a role to play in shaping that future, and she would do whatever it took to ensure that their potential was realized. As the small delegation of council members, led by Lyra, prepared to embark on their historic mission to Earth, a sense of nervous anticipation hung in the air. For many of them, this would be their first time setting foot on a primitive planet, let alone one in the midst of a brutal and unpredictable war. But Lyra remained confident and determined. She knew that the stakes were high, and that the success of this mission could have profound implications for the future of the galaxy itself. And so, with a steely resolve, she led her team onto their waiting spacecraft and set a course for the blue planet that had captured her imagination. As they approached Earth, the council members couldn't help but marvel at the sheer scale of the conflict that was unfolding below them. From orbit, they could see the scars of battle etched into the planet's surface, the ruined cities and shattered landscapes that bore witness to the ferocity of the war. But even amidst the chaos and destruction, there were signs of hope and resilience. The humans, it seemed, were not so easily defeated, and as the council members descended to the surface, they began to see firsthand the depth of their courage and determination. Guided by Lyra's expert knowledge and intuition, the delegation set out to observe the human battle tactics and technologies up close. They moved through war-torn landscapes and ruined cities, always careful to avoid detection by the combatants on either side. And as they watched and studied, the council members began to see the humans in a new light. They marveled at the ingenuity and creativity of their weapons and tools, the way they had harnessed the power of science and engineering to create machines of war that were as elegant as they were deadly. But what struck them most of all was the way the humans fought. They saw the courage and sacrifice of the soldiers on the front lines, the way they put their lives on the line to protect their comrades and their cause. They saw the strategic brilliance of the generals and commanders, the way they outmaneuvered and outfought their enemies with a combination of cunning and sheer force of will. And as they delved deeper into the intricacies of human warfare, the council members began to realize that there was something truly remarkable about this species. They were not just primitive savages, as some had assumed, but a complex and sophisticated civilization with a deep well of knowledge and wisdom to draw upon. Over the course of their mission, the delegation witnessed countless acts of bravery and heroism, as well as moments of heartbreaking tragedy and loss. They saw the toll that the war had taken on the humans, the scars, both physical and emotional, that it had left behind. But through it all, they also saw the unbreakable spirit of the human race, the way they refused to give up or surrender even in the face of overwhelming odds. And as they prepared to return to the council with their findings, the delegation knew that they had witnessed something truly extraordinary. When they arrived back at the council chambers, Lyra and her team were met with a mixture of curiosity and skepticism. Some of their colleagues remained dubious about the value of studying such a primitive species, while others were eager to hear what they had learned. But as Lyra began to speak, laying out the evidence they had gathered in meticulous detail, the mood in the room began to shift. The council members listened with rapt attention as she described the incredible technologies and tactics they had witnessed, the way the humans had pushed the boundaries of what was possible in warfare. And when she spoke of the courage and resilience of the human spirit, the way they had faced down impossible odds with unwavering determination, even the most skeptical among them began to see the truth in her words. In the end, the council voted overwhelmingly to recognize the value and potential of the human race. They agreed to forge new alliances and partnerships with this remarkable species, to share knowledge and resources, in the hopes of building a brighter future for all. As the meeting adjourned and the council members dispersed, Lyra felt a sense of deep satisfaction washing over her. She knew that the road ahead would be long and difficult, that there would be many challenges and obstacles to overcome. But she also knew that they had taken the first step towards a new era of cooperation and understanding between the humans and the council. And as she looked out at the stars, wondering what the future might hold, Lyra couldn't help but feel a sense of hope and optimism. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, and with the humans by their side, anything was possible. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, and in doing so, they would forge a bond that would endure for generations to come. In the grand halls of the Galactic Council, a sense of anticipation hung in the air as Lyra and her delegation prepared to present their findings from their groundbreaking mission to Earth. The council members, once skeptical and dismissive of the human race, now leaned forward in their seats, eager to hear what the team had discovered. As Lyra took the stage, she could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on her. She knew that the information she was about to share had the potential to change the course of galactic history, and she was determined to do justice to the incredible things she had witnessed on Earth. With a deep breath, she began to speak, her voice ringing out clear and strong in the cavernous chamber. She told the council of the remarkable technologies and tactics she had seen, the way the humans had harnessed the power of science and innovation to create weapons and tools that were as effective as they were ingenious. She spoke of the courage and resilience of the human soldiers, the way they had faced down impossible odds with unwavering determination and grit. She described the strategic brilliance of their commanders, the way they had outmaneuvered and outfought their enemies at every turn. As she spoke, Lyra could see the expressions on the faces of the council members shifting from curiosity to amazement, and finally to a deep sense of respect and admiration. They listened with rapt attention as she laid out the evidence piece by piece, painting a vivid picture of a species that was far more advanced and capable than any of them had ever imagined. But Lyra knew that words alone would not be enough to convince the council of the true potential of the human race. And so, with a nod to her team, she activated a series of holographic displays that filled the chamber with stunning images and videos captured during their mission. The council members gasped in wonder as they saw the humans in action, witnessed the incredible feats of bravery and ingenuity that had left Lyra and her team so deeply impressed. They watched as human soldiers charged into battle against impossible odds, as their commanders orchestrated complex strategies that left their enemies reeling in confusion and disarray. And as the final images faded away, leaving the chamber in stunned silence, Lyra knew that she had achieved something truly remarkable. She had opened the eyes of the council to the true potential of the human race, and in doing so, she had set in motion a chain of events that would change the galaxy forever. In the days and weeks that followed, the council members pored over the data and evidence that Lyra and her team had brought back from Earth. They debated and argued, weighing the pros and cons of forging a new alliance with this remarkable species. But in the end, the decision was unanimous. The council voted to recognize the humans as equals, to share knowledge and resources with them in the hopes of building a brighter future for all. They saw in the humans a kindred spirit, a species that had faced down impossible odds and emerged stronger and more resilient than ever before. As the news of the council's decision spread throughout the galaxy, a sense of hope and excitement began to build. The humans, once dismissed as primitive and insignificant, were now being hailed as the great hope of the galactic community, the key to unlocking the new era of peace and prosperity. And at the center of it all stood Lyra, the silver-haired council member who had dared to dream of a different future. She knew that the road ahead would be long and difficult, that there would be many challenges and obstacles to overcome. But she also knew that they had taken the first step towards a new era of cooperation and understanding between the humans and the council. As she looked out at the stars, wondering what the future might hold, Lyra felt a sense of deep gratitude and humility wash over her. She had been given the opportunity to make a real difference in the galaxy, to help forge a bond between two remarkable species that would endure for generations to come. And so, with a sense of purpose and determination, she set out to begin the hard work of building a new future, one in which the humans and the Council would stand side by side as allies and friends, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Together, they would explore the vast wonders of the galaxy, and in doing so, they would create a legacy that would endure long after they were gone. In the days and weeks following the Galactic Council's historic decision to recognize the potential of the human race, a sense of excitement and possibility seemed to permeate every corner of the galaxy. The news spread like wildfire, from the bustling streets of the Council's capital to the far-flung reaches of the Outer Rim. Everywhere, beings of all shapes and sizes marveled at the incredible story of the humans, the once primitive species that had proven themselves to be so much more than anyone had ever imagined. They spoke of the courage and ingenuity of the human soldiers, the brilliant tactics and strategies of their commanders. But most of all, they spoke of the unbreakable spirit of the human race, the way they had faced down impossible odds and emerged stronger and more resilient than ever before. In the humans, many saw a reflection of their own struggles and triumphs, a kindred spirit that had the power to inspire and uplift even the most jaded and cynical of hearts. As the weeks turned into months, the Galactic Council began to put its plans into action. They reached out to the leaders of the human race, offering their support and resources in the hopes of forging a new era of cooperation and understanding between their two species. At first, the humans were wary, unsure of what to make of these strange and powerful beings who had suddenly taken such a keen interest in their affairs. But as they began to learn more about the Council and its mission, they started to see the incredible potential that lay before them. Together, the humans and the Council began to work towards a common goal, sharing knowledge and resources in the hopes of building a brighter future for all. Human scientists and engineers worked side by side with their galactic counterparts, developing new technologies and innovations that pushed the boundaries of what was possible. In the realm of diplomacy, human leaders and council members worked tirelessly to forge new alliances and partnerships, breaking down the barriers of mistrust and misunderstanding that had once divided them. They met in grand halls and council chambers, hammering out agreements and treaties that would lay the foundation for a new era of galactic cooperation. And at the heart of it all stood Lyra, the silver-haired council member who had first dared to dream of a different future. She watched with pride and amazement as the humans and the council worked together, marveling at the incredible progress they were making. But even as they celebrated their successes, Lyra knew that the road ahead would not be an easy one. There were still many challenges and obstacles to overcome, many old grudges and prejudices that threatened to tear apart the delicate fabric of their new alliance. And so, she worked tirelessly to bridge the gap between the two species, using her wisdom and diplomacy to navigate the treacherous waters of galactic politics. She became a trusted advisor to both human and council leaders, a voice of reason and compassion in a galaxy that had known far too much conflict and strife. As the years passed, the alliance between the humans and the Council only grew stronger and more enduring. Together, they explored the vast wonders of the galaxy, charting new worlds and discovering new species that had once been beyond their wildest dreams. They faced down threats and challenges that would have once seemed insurmountable, from rogue asteroids and black holes to hostile alien empires that sought to conquer and destroy. But through it all, they remained united, bound together by a shared sense of purpose and a deep belief in the power of cooperation and understanding. And as Lyra looked back on all that they had accomplished, she knew that they had truly achieved something remarkable. They had not only forged a new alliance between two remarkable species, but they had also set an example for the entire galaxy to follow. In the years and decades to come, the story of the humans and the Council would be told and retold countless times, becoming a legend that would endure long after they were gone. It would inspire generations of beings to come, reminding them of the incredible power of unity and the unbreakable spirit of those who dared to dream of a better future. And so, As Lyra looked out at the stars once more, she felt a sense of deep gratitude and hope wash over her. She knew that the journey was far from over, that there would always be new challenges and obstacles to overcome. But she also knew that they had the strength and the wisdom to face whatever lay ahead, and that together they would continue to build a legacy that would endure for all time.